Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this special edition here at the DRMSH channel. We are officially on the Facebook page and the YouTube page. My name is Jorge Gil. I am one of the associates that help Dr. Heiser run his social media. I'm also a speaker for crossexamine.org, the ministry founded by Dr. Frank Turek. But tonight we are here to talk about seminary. Yes, if you are a Heiserite, if you are on the other side of the screen, you already know how much emphasis we put on academic material and understanding the Bible for what the Bible is. Let the Bible do the talking and understand how we should go into the text. Where do we learn all of this? How many times something is going on here, gentlemen, and my camera just went out. So we're still streaming. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and send this to the two gentlemen here and then figure out why is it that my camera did this. So guys, John, Mike, take care of this and I'll be right back. Okay.
Yeah, we don't have any shortage of things to talk about when it comes to seminary. And instead of asking the question, why seminary? Like, oh, what a drudgery. But it's why not? Why not seminary? And it is, we were chatting just before we went. This my audience to know killed. I would have killed, back in high school and in my college days to have had this thing that we now take for granted called online education or mobile education, or in terms of what Redemption Seminary is offering, an actual degree that you could do completely at your own pace, self-motivated, and you get to choose your coursework from a spectrum of scholars that you could never find at one physical location. I mean, this would have been such a no-brainer that, I would have been beside myself. Again, without getting, this is a really personal subject to me because when I became a Christian, I was 16, and I was a moderately competitive athlete, and your typical high school guy. I wasn't in with the jocks. I wasn't in with the nerds. I was just kind of there. I was a nice guy, but I was good at school, and that was probably the only thing I could really see myself being good at. I didn't have any real direction from home. I didn't really have a mentor. My dad worked all the time. Plus, I grew up in an alcoholic home. It wasn't a good situation. So I had very little direction. And when it came to me deciding what to do with my life, I literally went to my pastor when I was graduating high school and said, what should I do? I didn't know what to do. And he said, why don't you try Bible college for a year? And that was a new discovery. I didn't realize that you could go to school to study the Bible. And at first I was really into it because you go, and Bible college and seminary thereafter, it's a wonderful experience because of all that you're learning. But when you get a little bit older, when you get out of your teen years, when you get a little smarter, and you see the people around you who are older and should have been smarter, but again, there was no opportunity. You realize, so what we just did here was I left my church that I was doing ministry in to go into the ministry. I quit my job so that now I can get another job and work full time and go to school at the same time. I left my entire support system, my family, and if you're married, your wife's family. And somebody told us this was a great idea.
Or the only idea.
It was. I mean, for its time, there were no alternatives. So that's why I'm saying people nowadays, you are so spoiled, but you don't know it. And the opportunities that you have to take something on the college level or go to seminary, which we're here specifically to talk about seminary level tonight, you can't believe what it used to be like. I mean, you just can't, unless you live through it, you can't believe what a disadvantage this was. We, at one time in my little church growing up, we had 130 people in the church, and 13 of us were in Bible college or seminary. We had 10% of our congregation that had left, forsaken the church, essentially. We were the ones that were doing the work in the local church. So we leave it to go somewhere else to barely survive. I mean, you eat ramen all the time, or you wonder if you're going to have money to do your laundry. These are the conditions you're at. Or it burned people out. It just burned them out.
Well, not people, but the church. You're talking about these are the people that make church work, that get things done in the church, and we're asking them to be pulled out of the church. I talk about this as the next level church. You have your pastor, your full-time ministers, and you have that next level of like 20 people to every one that really do the volunteer work that make it happen. Yeah. And this is what I'm excited about is, what if all of that next level, or at least maybe even half of it, had a seminary education? How much fuel and power would that give the kingdom?
Yeah, we would come back home during the summers and go back into maybe a teaching role or something like that. I mean, our congregation didn't have to be sold on the benefits of having us go to seminary. The problem was how it messed up our lives. And really presented a degree of difficulty that would just burn people out. I mean, again, this is close to me because one of the people that was among our 13 just passed away this week that I knew. And he never made it into ministry because not only did he have to get a bachelor's degree first. So and he wound up doing it in Bible college, which necessitated a move because he couldn't get in. He either couldn't get into the local university, or it didn't have anything in biblical studies that he could care about. He spends 4 years working full-time second shift and barely gets out by the skin of his teeth. And now he's told, no, you don't get to go into ministry yet. Now you get 4 more bonus years. Now it's 4 more years for a second degree in MDiv. Aren't you lucky? I mean, obviously it wasn't presented that way because there were no other options. But I am the only one of our 13 that ever made it into anything you'd call ministry. And I've never been on a pastoral staff or anything like that. But I mean, I was a professor, but I'm the only one who ever made it. And it just shouldn't be this way. And the good news is today, it doesn't have to be that way at all.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all.
Well, yeah. And actually that's part of the reason we produced Redemption Seminary. Like, the name is apt. It's all about second chances, what you can do later in life. If by taking the risk out of asking people to make lifetime career choices, sacrifice so much when they're very young, and allowing them to drip in a programmatic, quality, top tier education that offers things that can't be offered in the traditional model as they live their life, actually improve their ministries that they're working on in their course program. Mm-hmm. You're just going to increase the pool of candidates of people that can go into full-time ministry late in life when they have the experience.
That's right. I want to say something, gentlemen, because I got cut off. I don't know what's going on. It was a breaker downstairs. I had to run, and switch it back on. I don't know. Maybe my
had a picture of that.
My son. My son unplugged everything in his room, but now we're running. I want to let everybody know on the other side of the screen that make sure we're going to have some questions related to this topic, related to Redemption Seminary, and related to how you can get in right away. So leave your questions on the chat section. Make sure you add the word question, just the word question in all caps, so I can actually identify what is a question versus what is just going back and forth about the rapture or whatever it is that you guys love to talk about on the chat on YouTube that has absolutely nothing to do with the topic as usual. But praise the Lord, you can just go ahead on and put the word question in front of your question and leave your question, and I'll grab that question and I'll put it on a notepad, and then I will ask the question in due time. So we are going to have a Q&A at the end about this, and you're going to learn how you can join Redemption Seminary right away. Actually, there is a link on all the scenes if you want to start exploring now, but then you will miss the show. So make sure that you stay here with us. Start leaving your questions. I'll try to put them all in a document and ask it to John and Mike in just a minute. And with that being said, let's get back to this gentleman, and I'll just make my way to the side so I can start picking up these questions.
Yeah. If I could just jump in here with Redemption Seminary utilizes mobile education from Logos Bible Software and from Faith Life Corp. I was one of the 3 people on the ground floor that invented mobile ed. And part of it, I mean, for us, it was an easy sell conceptually because of all the problems that traditional seminary education presented. Again, there's the financial drain, just the cost itself. It's not uncommon to have to pay 6-figure amounts for an MDiv degree. And that's absurd, because if you get out into the ministry, you're not going to be earning enough to justify that kind of expense on a college level or a seminary level or an academic training level. So that was the most obvious problem. Then the other ones, leaving your church, leaving the ministry you already have. A lot of going to traditional seminary is driven by myths, and this is one of those things that could make me personally really popular in the Logos building and really unpopular in the offices of deans and professors all across the United States. And that is, seminaries marketed as though you're going to move, you're going to uproot yourself, you're going to leave your ministry. You got to find a new job, especially if you have kids. What are you and your wife going to do to make ends meet? All these practical problems, but it's marketed on, you got to go for the experience, and we create this aura, this myth that you're going to go to seminary and it's going to be you sitting at the feet of the masters, these professors, and you're going to have all this interaction time with them. And you're going to get every question that you ever had answered. And you're going to be buddies with them, and you're going to get to know them. And just stop right there. Okay, just stop right there. These people, there's one professor, and there's 300 or 400 students, okay, in a small school. There's no way that this picture, this mythology is ever going to come to pass. Yes, you'll meet Dr. So-and-so. But Dr. So-and-so he doesn't have five hours a week just to share his thoughts and feelings with you. Okay, he can't do that for everybody. It's logistically impossible. And the professors are humans. They have families. They have things they're supposed to be writing. They have papers they're supposed to be grading. They have committees that they're assigned to do work on. There's no way that you're going to capture this grand sage experience. There's a mythology erected around the going to seminary experience, the mentoring.
I want to say something about that.
Mentored by Dr. So-and-so.
Mike.
Good luck,
Mike, I want to say something about that, because I go to seminary online, right? And that was one of the things everybody that goes to the seminary that I go to said. Everybody graduated from there said that they went there for the mentorship, but that was 20 years ago, right? Yep. That was 20 years ago to say, he opened the door for me to come in and sit down, and his wife was there, and 20 other students will sit down and talk about theology and philosophy. All that. That was 20 years ago. I started to go into seminary online, and that's the only way I could go
Yep.
to school and do ministry at the same time. So what you're saying is so true.
You actually get more of a mentoring relationship through the model of Redemption Seminary
Yeah.
than you will at any of these physical places. Now, again, this is just me. I've only got my own life to refer to here. But I went to seminary and graduate school a total of 12 years. Okay. I was invited to a faculty home one time.
Wow.
One time. And that was Norm Geisler.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay?
That's exactly what I didn't want to say names, but that's exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah, I'll drop the names and shame everybody else. It just, but I mean, we're all adults here. We realize that, again, they have families, they have kids.
Right.
There are any number of things that legitimately, I mean, having been a professor, I know that legitimately take time away from you that you're expected to do. It's not fluff. It's not that you're looking for extra stuff to do. Writing those books, getting those book contracts, writing the articles, grading, committee work, it's all expected of a professor, on especially the seminary level. And that takes away from the contact you have with students.
Ironically, yeah, it's funny that grading of
Ironically,
paper does that, but it doesn't.
It's a complete reversal of what you were sort of told it would be like. Again, I could go on and trash the traditional seminary model. Okay, I could. I don't want to do that because, it can be a very positive experience, but in many cases, it you're up to the marketing. It just doesn't.
Mike, can you repeat that last? Mike, can you repeat that last part? He cut off a little bit.
So by and large, the seminary experience does not measure up to the way it's marketed, and that's not the fallout of some evil plan to get people into seminary and get lots of dollars from federal loans and stuff like that. That's just the reality. It's just the reality. It's the logistic reality of the way things are. And so when I was at Faith Life and Logos, and we were coming up with mobile ed, and then later, how Redemption Seminary was created, and using what we created at mobile ed to deliver content, and then add that a meaningful mentoring relationship along with it, plus save you 75% of the money, and you get a library, along with it at the end.
Yeah.
During the time and at the, I mean, this is so much of a no-brainer that it's hard for me to express. I think everybody in the local church ought to at least audit a seminary class. Just you don't have to go out and get degrees. You don't have to get pieces of paper, but you should be taking classes that your local church leadership doesn't have the time to give you, and in many cases won't have the specific expertise to give you. There's so many benefits to doing it this way in the online world. But like I said, if this was the world I was growing up, if I was 16, 18 years old now thinking about what I'm going to do, I don't have to think about it anymore. Okay, you just gave me, you told me about Redemption Seminary. That solves that problem.
Yep.
Right there it is.
Well, and you can get started without a huge commitment. You can just, as you said, you could audit, and you can just start taking a course ungraded. And then if you think it's a good fit, then you can say, well, actually grade my work and add the mentoring on later. So there's really no risk, and see if it's a good
very
fit.
flexible.
That's really awesome. Yeah. That's really
John,
awesome.
You should probably unpack what Redemption does. I might be assuming too much because of the people in my own audience here that have heard of it. But again, I think the question is appropriately asked, why not seminary? There really few good reasons to not at least take one seminary course. Just dip your toe in get the experience, learn the content, develop a relationship with somebody who has a PhD, be able to bounce your questions off them. There's no good reason to not do that if you have a hunger for learning scripture.
Yeah, I think I agree. And I think it might be helpful just to kind of explain what a day in the life or a week in the life of a redemption experience could be like. So people can, we're talking about mentoring, we're talking about mobile ed. How does that all work together? So the way we do it, we basically stitch together, you might have heard synchronous education. So that's live meeting versus asynchronous education, which is where a lot of the online seminaries went. They took their traditional model and just put it online. And that gave gave everybody a compromised education, but it made it more accessible. With Redemption, we built it from the ground up, saying, well, how do we maximize the relational aspect of it, but also maximize the ability for someone to work at their own pace. And so the way we do that is you get all of the content for the course, the lectures, you get a workbook for every course. We call it a portfolio, and every course is divided into 7 units, and you work through as many of those as you want. Some people just want to work through one to start with, and they say, I'm ready to start getting mentored. And then you sign up with 7 for a weekly, 7 mentoring sessions weekly. And so that takes you through each of those 7 units. Some people like to finish all 7 units first and know that they're just going to be reviewing and getting that input from a mentor to say, how are you applying this to your life, to your context? Each week, it's kind of like piano lessons. Were you going with the direction of each assignment, or were you completely off track? You need a professional, some guidance there to know are you on the right track or not. Some people like to go speed their way through and say, I only need to stay 1 week ahead of my mentor. And they zip through a whole course in 8 weeks. So some people will take 6 months. Some people will take 8 weeks to go through a course.
That's just indispensable. Again, I think back to myself. I mean, I worked full time through 9 years of graduate school, seminary and/or graduate school, and it can be crushing. I mean, because the world doesn't stop because you're in seminary. The things that you have to do, the money you have to earn to pay your bills, and to take care of your kids and so on and so forth. None of that goes away, and it can be absolutely crushing. In those of you who are baseball fans, I'm gonna give you a name reference here that you'll immediately identify. But I determined very early on that despite my circumstances, having to work all these hours, and I'm grateful that I did, because it kept me in touch with the real world. Okay.
A whole course in 8 weeks.
But it was so hard.
So it really, some people will
determined though that I would never turn in anything late. Okay, I'm not going to let this be an excuse. And so the height of my folly, it became like Cal Ripken's streak, where 2,000 whatever it is, consecutive games in a row. He's playing with injuries, and so that the streak wouldn't end. And it became like a streak to me. And I remember there was one time in graduate school when I didn't sleep for three days straight, just so that I could say that I didn't turn in anything late. And that's a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
I would tell students at the beginning of the year, look, I kidded with my students a lot, and trying to scare them a little bit, but then explain why I'm doing it. I said, look, nobody in this room can possibly understand what it's really like to be busy. And then I would tell them my story, the ridiculous stuff that I would do just to avoid never turning anything in late, and doing that over the course of 9 years. And then I would look at them, because they're freaked out. Like there's never going to be any reason that Heiser would ever accept a late assignment. And I would tell them, look, I don't expect that of you. I know, because it happened to me, that you're going to get a phone call the night before an exam, when you had that time slotted to study or finish that paper, that somebody your work didn't come in for their shift and you have to go in and you're toast. If that happens to you, just tell me. Just tell me. I'm okay with it. I'll give you another day. Big deal.
Yeah.
And I never had anybody abuse it. But I wanted them to know that I'm going to know if you are using it as an excuse because I have lived it. Okay. I want to, I want to see some effort here too. You're not just going to do this 4 or 5 times during a semester because I will know.
Well, that I find that extremely ironic that we've built these systems, Bible study systems that are designed to increase our spiritual growth, that completely wreck our lives, and wreck our, that are designed to wreck your spiritual discipline.
Give us anxiety and create conflict at home.
Guys, listen. This is speaking to my soul, and I have a ton of amazing questions. But this is speaking. Listen, last semester I went through creator burnout. I went through burnout with my seminary. I took the whole semester off. I experienced anxiety for the first time in a way where I will sit in front of my computer and be completely paralyzed because I felt I had so much stuff. Actually, just like you said, Mike, I had to call one of my professors and say, "Hey, look, I'm dropping out. I cannot turn in this paper. It's just so many things on my shoulders." And I see people saying, "Hey, this, Redemption Seminary model sounds exactly like what I need." So I have a lot of questions for both of you in a minute, but I want you guys to continue expanding on redemption and this conversation because it's so amazing. So back to you guys.
Well, as I was saying, the taking the stress out of school, because school, I think, has its origins actually in apprenticeship models, the peripatetic schools. You're walking with somebody. The training used to be on the job, and so if we can think of what would be theological apprenticeship, and is that how stressful should that be? Your job can be stressful. You can have clients come in and so you have to work long hours. But you shouldn't try to expect someone to layer on this high stress commitment on top of their life. Their life, their calling, what the Lord's called them to, that's going to have its own demands, as Mike was talking about. And so your theological growth that you're layering on top, that should be supporting and nourishing you. And so its system should support that. And that's why we built the portfolio, the workbook model. Rather than high stakes exams where you have to hold everything in your brain. It's designed so that basically you create your own theology, systematic on whatever topic course you're working on. And you start with basically a 25-page book of questions, and it ends up being 150 of your own pages by the time you complete a course. And that's your book basically on the topic, but you're able to drip it in on your schedule without that stress. And then you're able to brag about it with your mentor who can help you refine it a little bit.
Your mentor. I mean, you can as you go along, you can come up with those questions that I want answered before I get out of seminary.
Right.
You can create that list and go through it with somebody.
Right.
It's just there's nothing like it.
And you're not holding the whole class up when they're saying, why is he asking that question? You don't have to feel guilty about that. You have a one-on-one mentor who's there, and that's where we've invested our resources of redemption, is that one-on-one relationship, so that they can have the freedom to explore those questions that a student has, but those particular ones, those life ones. Well, how's this work in my life, my context? We have all kinds.
There are going to be some people listening to this wondering, where is this disconnect between what I'm learning in the classroom and questions I have? Again, more seminary mythology. That a given seminary course is going to address the specific questions that you have. It might, a broken clock is right twice a day. It might do that, but you have to realize that you're taking a class in seminary, in a typical seminary program. Why? Because the academic council of that institution says you have to. because the people in this particular department, New Testament versus Old versus systematic versus historical theology versus Christian ed, versus pastoral theology, all the departments want a piece of you. Okay. And they all offer courses, and they are driven by getting through the content of the courses that they have created. They're not there to meet to answer your specific questions. They are there to get through the textbook, to get through the notes, because they have in their mind, and it's a good thing, it's not a bad thing, but they have in their mind, what should this class cover? And then
Right.
and they move you to the next class. And then what should that class cover? And so the driving ambition of the professor-student relationship throughout the course of a semester is getting through the content in the amount of clock hours and seat time that you have. It's not stopping class and taking Q&A. It ain't. It just isn't. So again, this isn't the way that seminary is marketed, though. Oh, you'll get all your questions answered. Well, yeah, if you write them down and you pester people to death, you might get a fraction of them answered. But again, in this model, the model lends itself to asking questions and to having interactive time.
Yeah, the way I talk about it is institution-centric versus student-centric.
Yeah.
We were intentionally a student-centric design. So yeah, it's more about the calling that the Lord has. And it's quite diverse how the Lord is calling his people. And so we wanted to build a system that can accommodate that and focus that, rather than a machine where we produce all cookie cutters of the same student object coming out.
Right. We took all our students through this list of classes, and we've calculated that the accreditors say you have to read so many pages. And so we've calculated that and factored it into seat time and out of class time and all these that an has to jump their own existence master in all too many cases of what happens in the classroom. And it shouldn't be that way. But it's one of these things that's sort of just birthed by the way we've had to do things up until very recently, up until the advent of video and mobile ed and things like this. Only since those things have been in place can you actually change the model.
That's right. Yeah, and I think Redemption's the only seminary out there that uses mobile ed as the lecture content. And that, some seminaries might use it as a supplement, but Redemption's the only one where we, again, put our resources into mentoring and use that mobile ed content, which is the world-class content from the top lecturers in the world. That's boxed now. And we want students to experience that versus try to recreate it with our own staff. We want our staff to be invested in the students. So it's a different mindset of content versus basically teaching skill, teaching heart. So when we talk to mentors, they all have PhDs, but our main question is, do they have a teaching heart? Are they going to be invested in the student? We want those people who love their topic more than people. Those often are great orators, and we love them to be recorded, but we don't want them to be mentors.
Yeah, they don't necessarily make great mentors and question answers. Yeah, that's true.
I do want to say, our title is "Why Not Seminary?" So thinking of well, who you're talking about, we're talking about everybody, and I wanted to kind of mention the kind of students that are attending Redemption right now and graduating. And we have stay-at-home moms, busy raising kids, managing their houses. They're getting a seminary degree, and they're not able to shortchange their family to do it. It works into their schedule. We have doctors, plumbers, bloggers, engineers, truck drivers, NFL players. There's a person with a very difficult schedule that a regular seminary structure just can't work around. So it's all types.
Yeah, it's the freedom of it is, is really, I mean, the redemption has a lot of good selling points to it, but the freedom of it, once you take a look at the content and you know the content's solid, the freedom part of it is liberating, because I don't have to worry if my kid fell off his bike and needs to go in for stitches, and now I'm stuck in the waiting room at a hospital, knowing that tomorrow morning I'm supposed to hand this thing in or take this exam. And
Right.
now I either have to stay up all night or I'm toast. Then what about the next day? When am I going to be able to catch up? There's all sorts of just practical life problems that actually being able to control your schedule and still get the education just makes the entire effort worthwhile.
Well, actually, we engage that head on. We talk about holistic learning. So it's not just about it learning information. It's about improving your dispositions as well, and then those relational skills. And so relational situations, how to apply theology. And so those are great examples of applying theology. So we would want to work that into the course. Those would be like, experiences that would be great content pieces for workbook material of how people are applying theology and building up the fruits of the Spirit in their lives, rather than accommodating that part of your growth. So for the sake of these structured assignments that
again, I just keep thinking of this stuff. Again, the freedom aspect is a big deal, but what that also enables you to do is it enables you to keep doing the thing that you're supposed to be training for.
Right.
Keep doing ministry. Now, when I was in Bible college and then seminary later on, and I tried I always tried to be active in the local church while I was in grad school as well. But in Bible college and seminary, it was referred to as extension. What are you doing for extension? Which meant that you had to go find a new church after you moved to whatever location you were moving to go to seminary. Of course, you got to find two things. You got to find jobs. You got to find church, both of which you've left to do this thing, which
Right.
doesn't make. Every time I think about it, it doesn't make any sense. But you find a church, and then it's like, well, what can I do here? Because the pastor doesn't have the pastor doesn't know who you are from Adam.
Right.
So it's not like you can just walk in there and say, hey, I'm going to XYZ seminary. Can I teach a class? And it's not like you're going to take pulpit time from them. They don't know who you are. There's no relationship there. And so it really stunts your ability to do ministry. Now I did everything in the local church except marry somebody. I did a funeral. I did junior church. I changed diapers. I mean, I did all that stuff. Okay, I did everything that that you can do in a local church except for marrying someone. I wasn't licensed to do that. But it was really difficult, and there a lot of those things weren't in the sweet spot of what I thought I wanted to do, or what I was supposed to be doing on the other end, or that I had already been doing.
Right.
I could have kept my Sunday school class.
Right.
If I had not moved away for seminary. I mean, I could have done this thing for years, and the way that would have molded me and helped me become better at it.
Yeah.
But instead, it's this struggle to find things to do. And then, like 2 years, I was at Dallas Seminary. You know what the problem there is? There's too many seminary students in every church.
Right. I was going to bring that up.
They're all looking for ministry opportunities, and you have to compete with each other to find something to do in your local church. It's just absurd. But again, back in the day, that there was only that model.
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays, those problems are rendered superfluous by the way online education, mobile education, again, what Redemption Seminary is trying to do. Those things, those questions aren't even questions anymore. You do it at your own pace and your own convenience, your own schedule, and you can keep the good things about your job or your local church ministry that are going to contribute to molding you as a person anyway.
Yeah.
We would hope that out at work we get to speak to lost people about the Lord. We would hope that we're befriending people who don't know the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
At our jobs. We can do ministry that way. We hope for this interactivity with the world, because that's what we're supposed to be doing in the Great Commission, isn't it?
Yeah.
But instead, our whole lives begin to revolve around this displacement and having all the anxiety and stress of doing these other things in addition to the stuff of normal life that we just made harder because we quit one thing and now we have to start it up at a different location. Again, to me, this is such a no-brainer. It's embarrassing. But my advice would be to anyone listening to this, just stick your toe in the water. Just take a course, audit a course. Just find out what it's like. It's not just for people who imagine themselves as pastoring churches anymore. If anything, and the pastoral staff I had growing up, again, we were spoiled. They didn't mind that we had 10% of the congregation in Bible college or seminary. They didn't view it as a threat. They viewed it as a good thing. They viewed it as something that would invariably sharpen them.
Mm-hmm.
They'd have to be on their toes and put in time to study for sermons and whatnot, because we've got a bunch of people out here who've been exposed to academic content of Scripture, and they're going to push the envelope, and that raises the bar for the whole congregation.
That's right. It's a rising tide.
Really
rising tide.
Guys, I do want to interject here and just bully you guys real quick, because we've been on this for about 45 minutes, and I got a ton of questions. Wow. And you guys are just taking over the show, because that's exactly
Don't even get us started on language studies.
There we go.
Listen, okay. Well, I do have a couple of questions about that, but look,
behave very badly.
Okay, so this is one. Let's try and please, I'll implore you both. Let's try to give rapid fire answers to these questions. Okay. Because if not, if you hear this, then it's over. I'm canceling you, right? We live in a cancel culture now, unfortunately. So I just have my cancel culture button ready to go, baby. All right. So we have Linda Race. He said, I graduated in 1981 from what is now called Vanguard University with a BA in Biblical Studies, emphasis in New Testament. I would love to brush up on my Greek and learn Hebrew. How do languages work with online classes? And then Benjamin Allen, on the heels of Linda's question, says, does Redemption Seminary require students to learn languages?
Well, no, it does not require. Our first degree is Master's of Arts in Biblical Studies. There's no language component to that. I am a Greek scholar. That's near and dear to my heart. And so we are poised to offer, have the mobile ed content for both Greek and Hebrew produced, and we're ready to offer those degrees. We're just in a regulatory process right now where we're can't extend new degrees at this point, but we're hoping that will be lifted very soon. Mm-hmm. And we will be, I cannot wait. We have about 30 focus, concentrations that we want that are in the pipeline to produce. So languages are on the short list for what will be coming. And I'm so excited about that because that's my area. And those are coming.
Okay. Excellent.
Not required.
Okay. Excellent. Erin V, that's an interesting name. Erin V, I think everybody picked their names like people pick their genders now in college, right? So in the internet, that's how it works, I guess. Erin V asks, I have an associate's degree in biblical studies. Would it be beneficial to still do redemption? I will say absolutely, but I'm going to let you answer that. And he or she or it, I don't know, we're not going to be politically correct. We're going to have some fun here. It says, how basic is it? I mean, the education in the introductory degrees at Redemption.
Oh no, it's seminary level. It's graduate level, and a lot of what distinguishes, I would say, undergrad from grad isn't the data. I mean, a lot of times you'll have the, same content, like especially with the language course. I mean, an undergraduate Greek course is going to be the same as a graduate,
Right.
Greek 1 is Greek 1. Now, where the difference would be is kind of what you're expected to do with it. How we press it into your life, the applications, the nuance that we expect. Actually, Mike is really good about pressing into contexts, and that kind of perspective, gaining that perspective is, distinguishes the, graduate level from the undergrad. So yeah, it completely would be worth it. And it's built to where if you feel like, I've already, I went above and beyond in my undergraduate, and I was actually doing graduate level work. Well, shoot, you're going to sail through the portfolio part, and it's not going to, it's not going to be hard. You're not going to feel it like, like you're jump through the same hoops again. You're just not going to.
Beautiful. Debbie has, go ahead, Mike.
I would say two things. If you have an associate's in biblical studies, that's a 2-year degree. If I'm interpreting the wording correctly. There are going to be lots of holes in that, in the courses you were able to take during the course of your associate's program. So whatever you missed, or whatever you just feel like, I didn't get enough of that, or there's a gap here in my knowledge base. Well, that's the stuff to focus on when you would get into redemption. I mean, there are ways to steer yourself through a given class or a given program where you can start filling some gaps and filling some holes. The other thing is, I'm going to agree with John here about the content. As an instructor, whether I was doing Bible college, teaching Bible college, I would teach in many cases at the seminary level, because one of my goals was exposure to content. But I wouldn't demand of my students what I could have demanded if I was sitting in a room full of graduate students.
Right.
And the stress level is completely different. And it's not uncommon in a graduate level course that your entire grade comes down to one paper. Your entire grade comes down to a final exam of everything that you've taught during the whole topic. Graduates, it's assumed that you have the superior, short-term memory. It's assumed that you know how to do research efficiently. And so the requirements of what you're asked to produce back can be quite a bit different on the graduate level than on the undergraduate level. But the content itself, having created, been part of the creation of Mobile Ed, and knowing who we brought in, for lectures and who the lecturers are, the content is going to be just what you'd get if they were going through the content at their Bible college or at their seminary. And again, we aim for seminary professors in Mobile Ed, and we would tell them, look, we already know what you're thinking, Dr. So-and-so. You're thinking that there's no way that I can give you my full content in just X number of video hours. Yes, you can, because you don't realize how broken up your class actually is. Having to go over what you covered last time, having to telegraph what you're going to cover the next time, talking about the football game. Oh, Johnny was late with an assignment, bring that forward. There's all sorts of busy work. There's all sorts of chit chat. There's all sorts of, oh, so-and-so has a question. She wasn't here last time. So now let's take 5 minutes of my class time where I talked about this last time. We're going to have to talk about it again because 2 or 3 of you were absent. There's all sorts of built-in delays to getting through your content as an instructor, where redemption doesn't suffer from that.
That's right.
Okay, it's all recorded.
And also I can't tell you how many times I've worked through a beginning Greek course. So and I enjoy it for fun, actually, to work through a grammar, and I've gotten very fast at it. It became enjoyable for me to try to chug down a grammar at night. And people might say, well, that's just repetitive, but it's not. You can move quickly through areas that are, it will hold you accountable. I had lots of students who would tell me, "Oh, I know that," but then when I asked for it, they might agree with that, with what I said, but asking them to apply it or restate it in another way, a lot of times you can think you know something where you're just agreeing and not really knowing it. So, a part of just the human mind of how we learn, we need repetition. It's actually in the Bible. For me to repeat these things is not a bad thing.
Right. We have another question here. Can you give me a list of the type of degrees that you guys have available at Redemption?
Yeah, we have 1 degree, Master's of Arts in Biblical Study, and plenty more on the way. We have a certificate version of that where if people want a shorter version of it, just the first 3 courses as a certificate. And so that's either for people who just want to start with that. And if they want to continue, well, they can continue, or they can reduce down to it. And they can try a course without any commitment to a degree. We call it the non-graded or auditing way of working at it. So those are the levels. And that's your broad base of kind of learning. If in golf terms, it'd be learning the 9 holes of theological education versus just spending your time on the driving range.
Jeff Morton asks, can credits be transferred from other Bible colleges? I have 1 year of college already and would love to switch those credits to the Redemption program.
So graduate credits can be transferred. Non-graduate level credits, we can work on prior learning experience to see if something would, life experience plus those, we can see about what that would qualify for. But graduate level courses, yes, can be transferred.
Okay, excellent. Let's see. Well, we have actually House of Rest Church send a super chat for $20, thanking you, Mike, for all you do, from the House of Rest Church in Modesto, California. Denise is asking, Redemption's model sounds very interesting. How are the prices? What are the credit hours? How are they priced?
So we have 10 courses, so we price per course. The degree is 36 credits. It's a fraction of the price if you kind of, did the math backwards. I'm not I'm more of a humanities guy than a math guy. So I'll just tell you the base price per course content.
So it's not going to be like $800 a credit hour?
No. Oh, no.
Well, what a disappointment.
That would be cheap in the traditional model.
It can't be real then.
Yeah, no, it's a few $100s for the course content, basically the audit version, and a little bit more than that for the mentoring part. So it's it's going to be, and again, prices change year to year, so I don't want to give an exact number, since it's going to be probably available for a while, but it's definitely it's targeted to be at the disposable income level. Mm-hmm. That's where we've, we don't want someone to go into, we don't allow people to go into debt. You pay as it works for your schedule. And so it's, basically it's definitely cheaper than private school, private kindergarten. It's around we're trying to hit the price point of, regular piano lessons, maybe a little bit more than that, but disposable income level is where we're hitting.
John, let me jump in here. While you were talking about this, I Googled, I'm not going to give the name of the school, but this is a school that everybody would have heard of. Okay. Master's degree programs per credit hour, $638. So if you're taking a 3-credit course, do the math.
Yeah.
You're pushing $2,000 for that course.
Yeah.
For one course.
Yeah, we're a fraction of that.
Man.
Not even. We don't have that many digits.
Satan be like.
And Redemption can do it because we don't have the physical overhead.
Right.
Okay. There's a reason why it's so dramatically cheaper or less expensive. But there you go. Again, you can Google it yourself, put in a seminary name that you've heard of, type in tuition to Google. You can get their fees.
Absolutely.
And our prices are online at redemptionseminary.org. You can go see our prices. We have the full cost for the whole program per course. It's very clear.
Excellent. So let me ask another question. It says, what if somebody doesn't already have an undergraduate degree? What they can do? Casey Pittman asked that question.
Uh, Great. And actually, I thought of one other part, the hidden costs of courses. So we include all resources, so the books and things, a lot of times
You
that's
mean
not
I don't have to pay extra for books?
Wow.
That's right.
How can this be real?
Yeah.
I should be plunking down $600 or $700 just for books,
Best
John. Don't
believe
you
it.
realize
Best
this?
believe it. Yeah.
Yep. No, it's all included. Thank you to Faith Life and Logos Bible Software for supporting this model. They've
Mm.
been, they've been partners from the beginning. So yeah, we have an amazing deal where graduates somebody who takes all of the courses in the program gets the whole custom library. It's the retail price of $23,000. Just we give it as a graduation gift so
Yeah.
people can continue to study. So books are included in all of it.
Wow.
So sorry, sorry, Jorge.
So the question is, what if somebody doesn't have an undergraduate degree? Casey Pittman asked.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
right. Casey, yes, you can. We have a path. My dream is to have a path for anyone to try. Why? The right to try. Why do we, say no? You can't look at this super, high caliber education if you don't have the right credentials. I think that's ridiculous. I think we should allow everybody a chance to try. So, so I'm finding broader structures to allow this to happen, and along the way, and I'm not going to stop till we have a clear path for someone to try it and move right forward. But right now in the battle, a person without an undergrad, you have to do the non-graded track, which is that auditing way. You can so we can't offer the degree, but you can get all of the course content. And then at some point, if we were to be able to offer the degree, it would be that work would be done, and we would just do the mentoring on top of it.
That's awesome.
So yes, you can get all of the content, but we just can't be grading it at this point.
I got Kay Sawyers and Aaron again asking. Now that you just mentioned the mentoring, I figure it was a great question to ask. Is how many mentors are available to the students, like the ratio, and can you pick your mentors? How does that work? How does that dynamic in terms of mentoring works? And then I'm just gonna piggyback off what Mike Chu says. He says, so if Redemption is using Logos, is the mobile ed content similar to what you guys are teaching, and how did that relate to the mentoring? So those are three questions, kind of molded into one. The Logos usage through the Redemption, the relationship that you guys have, and what kind of what is the dynamic with the mentors and the ratio mentor student?
Yeah, so we have you can look on the website now, and actually we have more mentors than are listed there. So we have about, I think, 15 mentors that are listed on the website for people to choose from. You get to choose your mentor for every course, so you can choose a different mentor for each course, or you can use the same one through the entire program. And we want that because then people can pick someone from their own theological background, or somebody who's going to challenge that, or maybe it's just their style. So we want to, again, student centric, allow students to be able to choose their mentors for each course. And then as far as the mobile ed content with the mentoring, the mobile ed is the lecture material. So through a course, you're watching every unit has there's 7 units to course. They're divided into 5 lessons divided into steps. And each of these steps, you watch a video, a mobile ed video, you do some associated readings, and then you do application exercises, maybe some research stuff. We provide Logos training to get you into using the software, and you just keep rinse and repeat through that whole process. So the mentors are not teaching directly. We want the mentoring time to be student focused, so where the students, is like piano lessons, they're playing, they're showing their responses to all of that mobile ed content and the reading, the research that they've done. The mentors then assess that, make sure they're on the right track, and then provide guidance of how they're applying it to their setting.
That is awesome. So many great questions here. This is, I'm going to actually take this one first, and then one that is near and dear to my heart that Iris Garcia asked. But this one comes from Laika. Laika asked, what's the basic difference between, the relationship between awakening and redemption, right? So she asked, Laika asked, there are courses that Dr. Mike put out from awakening, and there was some mention to redemption. How does that relationship work? and I'll let you guys talk it
Yeah.
out.
Well, right now we have the Awakening School is not pursuing accreditation. We never planned to pursue it. It would be something that we'd pursue over my dead body. We're just not doing that. And part of the reason was because I knew Redemption was going to, fill that space.
Awesome.
So I'm on the board at Redemption as well. So what we do at the Awakening School is we have a 2-year, which is 4 courses, certificate program. It's Unseen Realm Content 101 and 102. That's the first year, where we spend 30 weeks going through content areas that are touched upon in the book. I mean, we use the book as a starting point, but the course material goes well beyond the book into new material that's pertinent to things that are in the book. And then the second year is really geared to apologetics.
Mm-hmm.
So the second year, the idea was presented to me to have a second year for a certificate program, and basically they left it open to me that I could do anything I cared about. And so 201 is Old Testament apologetics,
Mm-hmm.
For the sort of the contemporary way that the Old Testament is challenged today. Things like everything comes from Babylonian sources and so on and so forth, and the biblical writers are plagiarists. We go through a series of questions like that, that people are critical of Scripture, and I have students read important articles in the history of scholarship on those topics, and then we discuss them in class in an extended Q&A. And then the second semester is Dr. Justin Bass does the New Testament counterpart to that.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 4 courses. If you took our certificate program, you could move that into, sort of track that into what Redemption is doing. And I'll let John take it from there.
Yeah, we provide transfer credit for that certificate. So it transfers for 6 credits of the 36 credit MA program. So you don't have to take that second to last course. The last 2 courses are 6 credits each instead of 3. And so it shortens the Redemption program, makes it less expensive. You don't have to take that second to last course, 6 credits.
Excellent. Now I got a fantastic question, actually 2. One from Mr. Pinto and Mr. Fleming. One is from Trinidad and Tobago. The other one is from Venezuela, but lives in Colombia. We all know what socialism is doing to Venezuela, and it breaks my heart, but it is what it is. We want to know, and this will be Fleming and Pinto, what about international students? What are the specific requirements regarding application process? And we're going to talk about application process, but you guys see at the bottom of the screen, you can go to redemptionseminary.org/why not, and you're going to find a form there, read it out. And we're going to be talking about that in just a minute. We're going to put it on the screen as well. But right now, John, for somebody who's in Trinidad and Tobago, somebody who's in Colombia and Latin America or any other part of the world that is not the U.S., what are the specific requirements to join seminary, the Redemption Seminary? And also, Fleming asks, can I join the seminary as an undergraduate distant learner? So those are 3 questions for you right now.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I always kind of answer in reverse order. So as an undergraduate, yes, you can always take the non-graded courses. So that's what's available for someone without an undergraduate degree. And so, yeah, you're welcome to start just taking the content and the courses. It's all the full structure is there. Just you don't have to pay for the grading, and you don't have to go through that aspect of it. So that's available for people without a completed undergraduate degree. And then for international students, we have students from Africa, from Canada, from South America, from Australia. So all around the world. In fact, when we have our student body meetings, we have to pick the time very carefully so that the whole world can join us. And the requirements are all the same. So it's very straightforward. And some of our mentors are from Africa as well. So we have a worldwide mentor base and student base, and everything's the same rules for everybody.
Excellent. I actually just had Evan, the Orthodox says, I'm a North American living and teaching in a Christian school in Honduras. Thank you for your work. We need a lot of people down there doing
Mhm.
that kind of work. And he says, can I study 100% online? And the answer is yes, yes, yes. Redemption allows you to study from anywhere you are in the globe. And I said, globe, I'm sorry, flat earthers. There is a globe. We live in a globe. Okay. So now, let's see. I got more questions. This one is dear to my heart because Iris Garcia says, "Hey, I'm studying at one seminary. My question is why there are not many seminary choices in the U.S. to give Spanish classes." And for Dr. Heiser, said, "Do your seminary, the one that Awakening, does it offer Spanish courses in distant format?" So I'm going to answer the latter part of your question, Iris. And yes, Awakening is going to launch early 2023 in Spanish. Okay. So I wanted to let you know that we are working double time to make sure that we make that happen. We're going to start with the first 2 semesters and then we're going to start adding more. Now in your case, John, is Redemption in the future trying to accommodate a Spanish speaking audience?
Yes, definitely. And actually, with mobile ed, we intentionally moved it to translate courses and also film original Spanish language theology courses. So that makes it very easy for us to then create first language Spanish courses as well. And our structure is set up to have mentors around the world. And so we have this vision of worldwide multilingual degrees. It's going to take us a little time to grow to get there, but that is our direction.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And one of the things that I learned from Mike as a friend and mentor is Mike has a heart for all this, brothers and sisters across the globe that speak other languages. He was the first person that I saw that had his material in other languages and have put effort, investment, I mean, time into getting these materials in as many languages as possible. So I am proud to say that I added a little bit to that work in the last couple of years, and then again, Redemption. That is amazing that you guys, John, have that vision. I have other questions. I have one here, and he's asked it a couple of times here, and I don't know if I can. Brent Cunningham says, "Question: How familiar are the mentors with the mobile ed content?" And I assume very familiar, but I'll let you answer that.
Yeah, well, I mean, all the mentors come from different backgrounds. I don't want to say every mentor has watched, worked through every mobile ed course that we use, but they are, PhD theologians. They, again, as I was talking about my ability to, chug down a Greek grammar in a night, these guys, they choose which courses they feel comfortable working in, and we are serious about the communications that students have with their mentors. It's weekly, and we hear from every course from adult students who tell you what they think. And this is not like undergrad students who might be a little shy to tell you what they think. When you deal with adults, they tell you what you think, what they think. We love that.
Awesome.
And I guess if the question is competence with the material, high level of competence, and it's worked out really well, and we're responsive to students.
That's very awesome. I got 2 things here. Grayson Birch says, looking at the professor names on the courses on the Redemption website, and there are some great names on there. And also Chris Spade answering our friend Advanced Apologetics, who's also in the DRMSH community. If you haven't joined the DRMSH community, what are you waiting for? We do 2 live streams. They're exclusive live streams with Mike Monday and Fridays inside the community where you can ask Mike questions. On Monday is a free topic Q&A, and then on Friday we do a Q&A of Reading with Mike, where Mike share an academic paper inside the community. All you have to do is go to drmsh.com, click on join community, and sign up there. Advanced Apologetics says, "Hi, I'm Chris paid replies to advanced apologetics. He says, I'm a student at Redemption now, and the whole first course takes you through logos training. It's super helpful and allows you time to learn the software to a different level. And that's one of the things that we do here at the DRMSH social media channels is we bring you Scott Lindsay to teach you how to use logos, and Mike also be teaching us some awesome insights. And because Redemption has a relationship with logos, it allows you to learn the software in depth. So that's just a comment I wanted to make. Let's see, we have way more questions here that I wanted to ask. Okay, this one, ML asks, can I do a program with my spouse using the same registration for the Redemption Seminary? And I know this is something that sometimes it happens when one wants to take the degree and the other one just don't care about the degree, but wants to, kind of
Tag along.
tag along and get the material. So how would you answer that?
Yeah. So either way, if you just want to work together or talk with your spouse about it, it's designed to talk with everybody that you can about the program.
Right.
So yeah, you can if you just want to tag along, there's no charge for looking over your spouse's shoulder or looking at what they're doing. Proofreading or helping them. That's fine. If you want to get a degree alongside your spouse, there is a discount for that. Since,
oh wow!
All the materials, are you're using the same source of materials. So as long as we don't have to plan to give two Logos libraries, you're going to share the same Logos library. That reduces our costs.
Yes,
so just pass that right on.
Yes, and when do we start? Let's say I already have my phone open at redemptionseminary.org/why not, and I want to go ahead and sign up. I'm ready to go. I want to move forward with this. When classes starts?
Yeah, so you can get started this week, and actually it's really a helpful time. We wanted to do this actually this week because if starting right now, filling out that form, getting your application.
Merry Christmas, John.
That's right. It's a perfect time because the mentoring terms, we have 6 of those a year. So those are the things you have to kind of pace for. And you want to be at a spot where you can decide, do I want to sign up for a mentoring term? And that sign up period is the second week in December. So if you start this week, finish the application, and sign up, it can all happen, within a few days.
Right here. Yeah, you're seeing it all on everybody on the other side of the screen is seeing the link to redemptionseminary.org/why not.
Yes. So if you fill that out and, finish the application process out, we'll get you started on that orientation course and then right into the first course on spiritual formation that would be mentored. And you can tell by, of how far you're working through that portfolio by, in a couple of weeks, like I am ready in that second week in December. I think I would be ready to have the mentoring for that come January. So you'd sign up. And so right now it's the perfect time to do it. If you kind of wait until the second week to sign up, well, now you're going to have to work on the material and you're going to miss that deadline for the January mentoring term. Mm-hmm. And it's fine. You'll just be in the March mentoring term. So you get extra options if you sign up. Basically this week, you can decide if you want to take advantage of January mentoring.
Excellent.
And also there's a discount for this group through that link, 50% off on the application fee to the end of the year. So double reason to
50% off right there on the bottom of the screen. You can read redemptionseminary.org/why not. Make sure you sign up right away. We're going to leave that in the description box of this video. And also we're going to see if we send you all, if you already sign up for the Miglad newsletter, we're probably going to be able to remind you how to get here and send you a replay of this video as well. If you're not signed up for the Miglad newsletter, what are you waiting for? If you're not signed up for the DRMSH exclusive community, what are you waiting for? And right now you can sign up for the Redemption Seminary for 50% off. 50% off is right. Am I right?
Application fee.
For the application fee. So make sure you sign up right now is super simple. I got Woodruff asking these questions. He says, I'm very interested in resurrecting my local church weekly school. Is there anyone to contact, in for an Alberta, Canada class to jointly progress through the redemption? How can a church get their attendees, their members that are interested in seminary to go and maybe collaborate with a mentor? How would you be able to do something like that, John?
Yeah, actually, we're working with together with a church in Texas right now, where they basically created their weekly adult study group, Bible study group around redemption courses. And so there's a number of them that are doing just the non-graded track, and they meet weekly to work through. And then a couple of them are doing the graded track, where they also, in addition to meeting with their weekly adult group, they meet with a mentor every time they're ready to work through one of those 7-week sequences. So there's some of them getting a degree, and some of them just work using the redemption content as their adult Bible education track.
That's
leadership
awesome.
training.
That's awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna ask this question, and then I'm gonna let you guys wrap it up or continue to talk about redemption. I'm gonna be sharing the link on the description, both on Facebook and on YouTube. So Matt Long asks, how does the accreditation work across the state line? Some states require school accreditation for a graduate degree. What is your response?
So we were committed when we started to having a path to accreditation for every student. So, one thing to be stated is that degrees aren't accredited. You don't get, people talk about, well, is your degree accredited? That's not a category. Institutions are accredited.
Right.
And so really the question is, do you have a degree from an accredited institution? And so we are committed to becoming accredited. And so eventually the students are going to have degrees from an accredited institution. Before that happens, and a lot of times I was going to say, wait, you can't, guarantee that's going to happen. And so to ensure that we took the risk out of the equation for students, we formed a partnership with Kairos University to where they accept our program. And so if that doesn't happen,
and they are accredited.
And so if that doesn't happen, or they just people can't wait for us to work through the process, they can take an additional expedited program that we built our program to match theirs. It's competency based like ours. So it's not a lot of repeat. It's just kind of confirming what you've learned. You can get a second, degree that qualifies. Or what we recommend is people just don't get another master's, but go and get a doctor of ministry from them, and they accept our program as to allow someone to enter that program. So there's a path. We wanted to make sure that there was an accredited path, and then at the point where redemption is accredited, then obviously you have a degree from an accredited institution.
That's very cool. Very cool. Well, I want to also let everybody know that, again, we have the links for redemption pinned on the chat section, both on YouTube and Facebook. Is going to be at the bottom description of this video. Make sure you share this video with everybody that you think might be interested in this awesome opportunity. We're waiving 50% off the registration fee, and we want to get as many people sign up for redemption. And redemption is a seminary that is revolutionizing the way that we do education for theological topics, and we want to form the church. And I don't know, Mike, you forgive me for sharing this, but we were talking about a friend of yours that spent his life studying and then didn't get to do ministry, because the Lord called him home. So this is something that is serious. I was a single father of 2 children that could never go to a normal seminary, and it wasn't until the option for an online seminary came knocking at my door that I was able to get my education. And Norman Geisler used to say, "Get your education and do ministry." But now with social media and the advent of live streaming, you can go to seminary and do your ministry using the same tools. So there
Yeah.
are no reasons why you shouldn't be impacting the world. Like Mike says, we are sacred space, and everything that we touch should be for the glory of God. So, Mike, share a little bit about that story, man, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Just this week, somebody I from my hometown, my home church, passed away, and he was the guy that I had alluded to earlier, where he was older. Him and his wife, they wanted to go, into ministry, and he didn't have a bachelor's degree. So the first thing he had to do was go off to Bible college. This is the only model presented to him. So for 4 years, he worked second shift, 4 to 12, full time for 4 years while going to school full time. And then at the end of that road, did he get to do ministry? No, no, because churches want MDiv degrees. So now, as his reward, he gets to do 4 to 5 more years of that
Mm,
at a different location. So he gets to quit his job again,
mm,
move again, find another job, find, another church, find, basically, he had to restart his life 2 times,
mhm.
and it just burned him out. He never actually wound up finishing seminary. And so, in terms of vocational ministry, it was all for nothing. And
Mm.
I just think that doing that today is disgraceful.
Yeah.
Doing that to students today is just disgraceful. That's the word for it, and I'll use it, and I'll wear it. Okay, and I'll admit I'm not the most popular guy with academic deans at these institutions, but it's disgraceful.
Mm.
What needs to happen is programs like Redemption, and Redemption is unique in a number of ways because we have a partner relationship with a software company, for one thing. Okay, we were able to start things from the ground up, not just adapt an existing educational model to a video model. Okay, Redemption is unique, but in this day and age, there should be no reason why people get burned out going into the ministry or preparing
Amen.
to go into ministry. That should not happen.
Mm.
It should be self-paced. It should be focused on the student and not on clock hours and seat hours and page counts. It shouldn't be any of that. And if you're still doing that to students, I mean, yes, the student is there by their own volition. You didn't kidnap them overnight and force them to sit in your class. Okay, but these are the realities of the situation. So if you're blessed to have a physical seminary in the town where you already have a job, you already got a home church, you're already doing ministry, well, that's great. That's awesome. By all means, go for that. I mean, you might scratch your head a little bit later and wonder why you spent so much money doing it.
Mm.
Okay, but you at least don't have these other detractors. But for hundreds, thousands of students that are still uprooting their lives and leaving ministry to go into ministry, again, there's just a better way.
Yeah.
There is just a better way.
Yeah. Well, and we're grateful that we have Redemption. We have John leading the way. I do want to say I was lying. I got 3 more questions. Okay. So I actually got, I mean, these questions are great. They just keep coming. So I was like, they were like, hey, let me ask another question, another question, another question, another question. And we just have all of these questions. So let's go ahead on and ask them, right? So we have John Whitaker ask, how much writing is involved in the MA in Biblical Studies?
So, for most courses, it's that portfolio.
Right.
And it drips it in. So generally you're writing a few pages for each of the lessons. It's, in short form, and it slowly adds up to basically, I'd say about 120 pages by the time you finish a course, but it's not all in one go.
Right.
And so you're acclimatized to it. The final course where it's presses people to use strategic planning in their ministry, wherever it is. And really, I mean, it can happen anywhere. I mean, it could be, my wife is a director of the children's ministry at church, so it could relate to that. It could be, it could be, the list goes on and on. And so that when you're building a strategic plan for your ministry, weaving in the theology, that's a bigger project. That's what it's a 6-credit course. So that one, usually, it's probably about a 30-page, basically it's supposed to be like a journal level. Some people use, if they're going to do a theological treatment rather than more of a strategic plan for a particular ministry, it's going to be that journal length article.
Awesome. Awesome. So I got Kenneth ask, what if I want to take advantage of Dr. Heiser's Awakening 101 and 201 courses? Does it make sense to enroll in Redemption Seminary courses first? So how will be a dynamic since both of you guys are involved in this, and is somebody already taking courses in Awakening? What would you suggest them do?
Yeah, we have students taking both, and the order doesn't matter.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so just have them to go and sign up and get their education.
Do them in any order you want.
Okay, Mr. Leica asked the following. Says, does undergrad have to be Bible related? I have 2 degrees in design from a major university. Can I just go and do a master's in redemption?
It does not have to be related. So my undergrad is in landscape architecture, and I was able to go to seminary. The way that works is generally graduate schools that are in the humanities, which would be seminary, the prereq is the core curriculum of an undergraduate. So that's where, that's how they rationalize the system. So the short answer is undergrad particular doesn't matter.
Excellent. So we got some questions about, biblical languages and the other degrees. So it's hard to put a number or a date on that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go live when we have some new news about that, right, John? And
Sure.
And let everybody know. Now, make sure that you go to Miglot, sign up for the newsletter, and so we can try and send you more information about this. Also, it's right here at the bottom of this stream. Actually, I'm going to put the streams, you can see right there, redemptionseminary.org/why not, and just sign up if you want to get more information about this. Once you get entered into their database, they're going to be able to provide you with all the information that you need related to questions about redemption and maybe the options that you have. So here we just scratch the surface. There's so much information that we can share, and you can actually browse their website and learn more about what they're doing at Redemption. Make sure that you sign up. It's super, super awesome what they're doing. I'm so grateful that somebody is doing this. And now I am going to finally let you guys go. So I lied earlier, and now I have to go to confess and repent in sackcloth and ashes. But now, guys, let's go ahead on and wrap it up with whatever you guys want to tell. Make sure, guys, that you contact Redemption this week. Start fresh early 2023. Avail yourself of this discount that we have for the registration. And don't let fear stop you from getting a seminary education. It's just like the title says, it's not just for pastors anymore. Especially the way that the culture is, we definitely need as many of you trained in the Word of God, and we have to be able to infect the culture with the truth. Right now, it looks like truth is slipping away in the culture, especially in the mind of younger people. They have this crazy voices just consistently telling them lies from the depths of hell. Really, the stuff that our children are learning nowadays and are being bombarded with need to be counteracted with a lot of well-educated Christians. Not to brag about, what views we hold, but to be able to answer questions, because this whole idea of apologetics and defending our faith, it is a mandate for us that we need to be ready when they ask us about the hope that is within us. And that's exactly what Redemption Seminary is going to do for you. So, John, take it from here, man.
Well, thank you. This has been, I always love talking to Mike and me and you, Jorge. We got to do this again. I can't wait for next time.
Absolutely.
I do want to give a warning for students as they sign up. You might end up binging a little bit on theology. And so,
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. You know, if you actually, I'm just gonna say something. Most people on the other side of the screen are already Heiserites. We had about 400 people. Now we have over 300 people watching now, and you know, most people on the other side know the value of good biblical studies, of good theology, of letting the text, you know, speak for itself. So make sure that, I mean, it's Thanksgiving coming up. Get together, and I know maybe some of your family members have probably been on the fence of wanting to learn more about God. This is the best opportunity, and it's just so affordable. As a single father, you know, I was a single father and living paycheck to paycheck, and having a couple of bucks, you know, to my name every other week, you know, redemption would have been the best option out there, and it is for many of you. So make sure that you follow through with this. Don't wait until, you know, 6 months from now. Go ahead and decide them now. Start doing something. This is one of the things, and I learned it from Dr. Geisler. I learned it from my mentor Frank, who was mentored by Dr. Geisler. You know, take it one step at a time. Before you know it, you will have finished this degree and you have acquired all this knowledge, and you will be bringing glory to God. Absolutely.
Amen.
So, gentlemen, this is it.
Thank you.
Tell everybody,
Thank
you know, go to Redemption, sign up, and we'll see you the next show. God bless.
you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.